Natural and man-made disasters are challenging situations that need professional handling, especially in the area of emergency prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. This assertion is the true reflection of the character and approach of the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency, KADSEMA, Muhammad Muazu Muqaddas. Since assumption to the exalted position of Executive Secretary of KADSEMA, Muhammad Muqaddas has made conscious and deliberate efforts in re-engineering the concept of disaster management in Kaduna State. He is now about 100 days in office, and despite the scarcity of resources, he was able to embark on humanitarian programs and projects that enhance service delivery in both staff and communities. The first thing that captured the attention of the Executive Secretary after taking over the leadership of the agency was the need for capacity building of KADSEMA staff. As such, he organized a training and capacity building programs for 44 KADSEMA staff.
On assumption, the first thing I did was to evaluate the capacity gaps of the staff members here in Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency, because I believe that for me to be able to achieve maximum result, I need to be able to have staff members that I can rely and depend on. So I got to know that their capacities are low in some key areas. Therefore, I embarked on capacity development.
Apart from KADSEMA staff, he cascaded the training to 22 other desk officers of ministries, departments, and agencies of Kaduna State government.
I also wrote all of the commissioners and heads of agencies in Kaduna State and got them to nominate key staff members who would serve as desk officers from their ministries, departments, and agencies. And I was able to cascade the training, for the benefits of those identified. So both staff members here in KADSEMA and the nominated staff members from the ministries, departments, and agencies have been carried along in terms of knowledge and are in a good position to be able to work with us on humanitarian issues.
Based on requests from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, 100 of its staff members benefited from the ES capacity development exercise.
The Central Bank also invited me to train their staff.
The aim of the training were to reorient emergency and rapid response personnel on the basic requirement and technique of prevention, preparedness, response, rescue, resettlement, and rehabilitation, which includes emergency preparedness, supply and logistic in emergency, contingency planning, organizational safety awareness, first aid for first responders, and harmonized approach to cash transfer.
These people that have been trained have adequately been equipped with disaster management knowledge and skills, and I believe they can be brought in to work with us whenever we need them.
Apart from the training and capacity building, Muhammad Muazu Muqaddas has used his friendship and connections to expand KADSEMA's partnership with development partners as well as local and international organizations with a view to enhance service delivery.
I also leveraged on resources from our international donors.
Some of these organizations include UNICEF, Plan International, Care Nigeria, NEMA, and state emergency agencies. One major landmark of the leadership of Muhammad Muazu Muqaddas in KADSEMA within his first 100 days in office was his commitment in attainment of instituting local structures and systems in the state as enshrined in the National Disaster Management Framework in the inauguration of local emergency management committees in all the 23 local government councils of Kaduna State. This singular action has redefined the concept of emergency management at the grassroots.
The functions of the local emergency management committee is to coordinate disaster management activities at the local level. They are also to monitor status of preparedness of organizations at the local level and provide feedback to the State Emergency Management Agency. They will also collect and collate data and information and share with the State Emergency Management Agency. They are also expected to mobilize support, funding from the State Emergency Management Agency to be able to service issues like damage and loss at the local level, where it goes beyond the strength of the local government. So this are some of what we expect the local emergency management committees to do. In addition to this, when we get them to be fully functional, it is expected that they will also go down to the grassroots level and identify volunteers who would also serve as first responders at the community level, such that when there is anything disaster related, those would be there to respond. And when it goes beyond them, they will call upon the local emergency management agency to support. The local emergency management committees would as well call upon the State Emergency Management Agency to come to their rescue when it goes beyond them, just as we can as well call upon the National Emergency Management Agency to come to our rescue.
The Kaduna State Fire Service has also received the attention of Muhammad Muqaddas from the inception of his leadership. The ES took time to carry out an assessment tour of the State Fire Service headquarters in Kaduna and the zonal office in Zaria. After the tour, he made all that is necessary to the service to ensure that they carry out their duties of combating fire disasters effectively across the state, including striving further to decentralize the service stations per local government areas.
The Kaduna State Fire Service is currently operating from 3 zones. We have one in Kaduna here, we have the other in Zaria, and we have the last one in Kafancha. It has a strength of about 74 staff members, and we operate from these 3 offices at the moment. However, the focus of the government is to be able to further decentralize this fire stations to the extent that we will be able to have fire stations at every local government. We do have offices or fire stations that were constructed in the past. Some even have firefighting trucks. We are in the process of reviewing the status quo. We will revamp these fire stations and get them to work, thereby being closer to the communities where these fire outbreaks usually would happen, because we do recognize the fact that it's difficult for the firemen who are operating in Zaria, for instance, to be able to catch up and extinguish an infant when it occurs in places like Soba because of the distance. So we are hoping that soon this will happen. We will get all the fire stations in the 23 local governments of Kaduna State to be functional.
Apart from all these efforts and interventions, Muhammad Muqaddas is always on the assessment team of the agency whenever disaster strikes. One of such emergency situations was the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, where the Executive Secretary and his team moved to the scene to assess the impact of the attack and provided the needed first aid assistance to the victims, especially those injured. So the first 100 days of the Executive Secretary of KADSEMA, Muhammad Muazzam Muqaddas, is indeed a story of a good beginning with a promising success.
It has been very positive as we hear, people at all levels, say. I arrived here in November, late November actually, and we've been able to achieve a lot. We've carried myriads of operations, from rapid assessment, response, actions, relief, rescue, fire extinguishing, provision of livelihood, for vulnerable individuals and groups. We've done that. We developed, knowledge base of over 160, staff members, as I mentioned earlier, both from KADSEMA, from MDAs, from the Central Bank, students of KASU who are with us on Sideways program, and this individual are currently rich in terms of knowledge, and I believe their skills have been, well developed. We built trust and expanded Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency's partnerships with new international donors such as UNICEF, Plan International, Care Nigeria, Zumunta Association, an association of Nigerians living abroad, who have actually sent us a document indicating that they have donated some monies that will be presented to us in April. And we have been able to strengthen existing relationships with international organizations like the Christian Aid and COPI. We've created systems and structures. As I mentioned earlier, these systems and structures are at the local government level. They will not only ease management of emergency in the state, but I hope that it will outlive me. Even when I'm gone, these structures will continue to be and be functional and be helpful in managing disasters in the state. It's a milestone that I am very excited about. It places Kaduna third in the row of states that have achieved this kind of LEMS inauguration in Nigeria, and this was attested by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency. I've also been able to build the capacity, confidence, and morale of my staff. Here in KADSEMA, I can see it.
It was not surprising, therefore, that Muhammad Muazzam Muqaddas was conferred with an Icon of Excellence Fellowship Award by the Institute of Disaster Management.